Chapter 4, September 27th. Mike sent me a letter with a whole list of cool facts about spiders. The biggest spiders in the whole world are the gigantic bird-eating spiders from Guiana in South America. In 1985, they found a spider with a 10.5-inch leg span. This sucker had a body that weighed about 4 ounces. Its body was 4.5 inches long with fangs 1 inch long. The smallest spider in the world is the Patu marpezial from western Samoa. It measures just about the size of a period in a book. The most common spiders in the world are crab spiders. The rarest spiders in the world are the trapdoor spiders found in Southeast Asia. Tarantulas live longer than any other spiders in the world. It's not uncommon for females to live for 25 years. Males usually die younger. The fastest spiders in the world are the African long-legged sun spiders. They need to run fast to eat geckos and other desert lizards. They can run about 10 miles an hour. The biggest webs are made by the tropical orb weavers, Nephilia. They spin webs up to 18 feet long. The world's most poisonous spiders are the wandering spiders from Brazil. Big spiders that hide in clothes and shoes and can bite furiously when disturbed. Luckily, scientists have an antidote for their poison. I know Mike got most of these facts from the Guinness Book of World Records, but they were still fun to read. He wanted to know all about New York and how Thelma's doing. She's still moping around. Hasn't touched the fresh crickets I bought for her. Mike's letter made me feel weird. He wrote about going camping and going to Wrigley Field to see the Cubs, playing football on Saturday, watching a video, riding bikes with Chad. Last Sunday, they got 10 kids together at his house for a big game of killer croquet. He and Matt and Chad all got on the same travel team for soccer. Funny. It's not that special things he told me about, but the normal stuff that made me homesick. In homeroom, Bobby found a sign in heavy black lettering taped to the top of his desk. Welcome to Spider Boy from Illinois. Bobby calmly took the sign off his desk and sat down. A minute later, Chick Hall came running in. Hey, Spider Boy, Chick called from the other side of the room. How'd you like that sign, huh? Bobby ignored him. Yo, Spider Boy, Chick called again. Hey, excuse me, Spider Boy. Bobby forced himself not to turn around. Mr. Hall, Ms. Tarabaldi said, please lower your voice. But he's a Spider Boy from Illinois, Chick said in a smirky, nerdy voice. That guy's wicked awesome cool. I want to get his autograph. He's like a celebrity. A few kids laughed. Ms. Tarabaldi frowned at him. With her bony shoulders bent forward, she really did resemble an old eagle. That's quite enough, Miss Tarabaldi said. But, Miss T, his best friends are spiders, Chick said. Enough, Mr. Hall. Miss Tarabaldi stood in front of him. You have disturbed this class long enough. One more outburst, and you can spend the day with our assistant principal. Good morning, girls and boys, the voice of Mr. Wagner, the principal, came booming over the intercom. On alternate days, he began his announcements, boys and girls and boys. Please listen for the day's announcements. In less than 2 weeks, as you know, we will be trying an experiment with the honor system here at Regina White Middle School. The honor system will put more responsibility on each one of you. The voice droned on. Nobody in class seemed to be paying attention. Bobby half tried to listen, but his thoughts kept floating back to Naperville. Mike, Cody, Chad, After Mike's letter, he could think of little else. Mike's family had lots of money. He lived in a mansion with a humongous backyard. Every Saturday morning, all the guys got together to lay down a regulation-sized football field at Mike's house. They used real lime to mark the lines, and afterward they played tackle football. Sometimes 20 kids showed up to play. The games lasted for hours, and everyone always went home with ripped clothes, bruised and happy. The bell rang. Kids jumped up. "Hope I'm not bugging you, Spider Boy," Chick called on the way out of the room. Bobby glanced down at his watch. 7:20 a.m. in Naperville. School hadn't even begun. In English class, Ms. Tarabaldi gave a lecture about the short story. Conflict and resolution, characters, plot, setting. But the only setting Bobby could picture was his bedroom on the third floor of their house back in Illinois. In the long crawl space behind his bed, he had set up a whole system of boxes for his fossils, arrowheads, crystals, and baseball cards. The room had 2 windows that overlooked a patch of woods. On certain nights, the moon rose over those woods and threw slanted arrows of silver light into his room. In science, there was an assignment written on the board. Short oral presentation. "You're going to choose a topic of interest to you," Mr. Nyskowski explained. "This is not a big deal. There will be short, 5 to 10 minutes maximum." He underlined the word short on the board. "These will be due next Monday. Next week, we'll spend time in class listening to the presentations." "Can we work with a friend?" a boy asked. "Let me finish," Mr. Nyskowski said. "Yes, you will do your reports with one person. Please get together with a partner." There was a wild scramble as everyone started pairing up. Bobby sat watching. "Need a partner, Mr. Ballinger?" Bobby looked up and saw Mr. Nyskowski smiling down at him. A tall girl stood beside him. "Do I?" Bobby asked, shrugging. "You do," Mr. Nyskowski said. "And by coincidence, Lucky also needs one. Bobby, this is Lucky. It turns out you're both new to the school. Why don't you work together?" "Okay," the girl said in a low voice. She didn't seem thrilled about it. "Yeah, all right," Bobby mumbled. The voice in his said, "Just my luck." After class, Bobby pressed into the mass of students heading for their lockers and home. "There he is." He looked up. Chick Hall. "Spider Boy from Illinois," Chick said, grinning. "I can't believe I'm actually talking to him. Can I have your autograph, please?" Bobby walked up to him. He took out a piece of paper and scribbled his name on it. "Here," he said, handing it to Chick. "My name is Bobby Ballinger. In case you're interested, B-O-B-B, Mr. Ballinger." They looked up. Mr. Nyskowski. He took Bobby by the arm and led him away while Chick Hall madly waved after him. "I'd like to speak to you for a moment. Here." He led Bobby through an unmarked door and shut it. Inside, the only sound came from 2 aquariums, bubbling along one wall. Bobby counted 5 terrariums. On the other side of the room, there was also a mass of green plants under the bright lights. "Hope you didn't mind me pairing you up with a stranger today," Mr. Nyskowski said. "I don't know anybody in this school," Bobby said with a shrug. "Did you 2 pick a topic yet for your report?" "Not yet." He shuffled his feet. "Just don't leave it until the last minute," Mr. Nyskowski said. Leaning back against one counter, he was a tall man, much taller than Dad, with a deeper voice. He had reddish hair and glasses. "Say, that was some essay you wrote Friday about your father's silk farm." "Thanks," Bobby said quietly. He turned to watch 2 fish, black angels, chasing each other in one of the aquariums. "You sound like quite an expert." "I know stuff about spiders," Bobby said. It's kind of like a hobby with me. Really? Mr. Nyskowski nodded and crossed his arms. Yeah, well, I have a tarantula at home, a pet, and I've read a bunch of books about spiders. Spiders are fascinating, Mr. Nyskowski said. I've done some reading on them myself. Some of their survival mechanisms are ingenious. I keep a journal, Bobby said, like a science journal about spiders. A spider journal. That's interesting. I'd love to read it. Bobby blinked. He had never imagined letting anyone read his journal. Well, parts of it are sort of personal. I see, Mr. Nyskowski said. Well, you could just show me the scientific parts. Say, I haven't shown you around my office, have I? Let me give you the tour. These aquariums are for tropical fish. Last year, I bred Siamese fighting fish in this one, and I'm hoping to do it again this year. The conditions have to be exactly right: pH, water, hardness, temperature, salinity, everything. You know how it happens. The male marks a bubble nest in one corner of the tank. When the time's right, he wraps himself around the female, squeezes the eggs out of her, and blows them into the nest. It's the male who tends the eggs. Bobby leaned down to peer inside the terrarium. A green lizard glared back at him. I'm pretty interested in tarantulas myself, but we don't have any here yet, unfortunately, Mr. Nyskowski said. That lizard you're looking at is a gecko. I'm planning to get a snake or two as well. He rubbed his chin. You know, I could use someone to help take care of this lab after school. Feeding, cleaning, cages, putting stuff away. Do you have any interest in this job? I don't know, Bobby said. I'm thinking of maybe 3 hours a week. The hours would be pretty flexible. I'd pay you, of course. We could work out a fair hourly wage. Bobby looked down into the empty aquarium. You could even bring your tarantula in here if you'd like, Mr. Nagowski said. Really? Sure. That way you could see her during the day. He glanced at his watch. Think about it. We can talk more tomorrow. So I want you to think about what Bobby was like at the beginning of the book. We've been talking a lot about him and his feelings and his lying and how he's feeling about the move. Have you noticed that he might be changing, or do you think this relationship that he is going to have with the science teacher is going to help him at his new school? Do you think the science teacher sees that he's struggling at the new school? Talk with someone about that. I enjoyed reading the first 4 chapters of this book with you.